I'm sorry. So good to meet you in person. I'll call you up. I'll do the after. Call you up for you good to go now? So we have to start the music?
You don't recognize her right here?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm so
Yes. I don't understand.
Hi everybody, welcome. It's such a heartwarming thing to look at and see all of you sitting here. We're here to honor my mom, Eleni, and to celebrate with the life that she lived and the joy that she brought to all of us. I have to pick a place to look. I'm grateful for everybody being here today and all of you here in person, as well as the people that are on watching us on live stream. Just so you know, not to put any pressure on this, but we've got people watching in all parts of the U.S., in Canada, Greece, Ireland, France, Belgium, and Australia. So I'd like to start first by going over the timeline, which you all have a copy of in your program. After this brief opening, I just want to let you all know that this whole program will take about 90 minutes. And we're going to have my siblings and Cindy, my mother's other daughter, not by birth, but absolutely by choice. And then we're going to have a prayer by Pastor Andy Garcia. Check him out, he's changed a little bit. Not the other Andy Garcia you may know. And we're going to invite family members and other friends to come up to the microphone and share any memories that they might have. Just briefly, trying to keep the program on schedule. Then Michael will honor us with a beautiful musical hymn tribute and a traditional Greek prayer. And then Pastor Andy will come back up to the microphone and he will lead us in a closing prayer along with the Lord's Prayer. And then after that, we will go on to the closing portion of this service. Hi guys. I'll start with mine. A friend told me that mothers are the spine of the book that hold the pages together. And I love that. I feel that it's so true, and she was absolutely mine. It's not easy to summarize 94 years of a life well lived, but I'd like to walk you through the chapters of my mom's story. It was no easier than it was to choose the photos that represent 94 years of life out of the gazillion that we had. Eleni and Stathos Maroulis were my grandparents. They settled from Greece and Montreal and had actually 2 sets of children, starting in 1929. My mom, Eleni, was the middle child, the daughter between her 2 brothers, George and Peter. Then 10 and 11 years later, she became the older sister to her 2 younger siblings, Philip and Pauline. At the time, my grandparents owned and operated a restaurant in the Couchemont neighborhood of Montreal, and it was right around the corner from their house. The restaurant was called the Empress Tea Room. It was a diner-style restaurant, and my grandmother did much of the cooking with help. Running a business and wrangling 5 children proved to be a lot for my yaya. So luckily for her, she had 3 help handy and my mom. She pulled my mom out of school in 7th grade to be her own mother's helper. And just like that, my mother's formal education ended. She mostly was the one who raised her 2 younger siblings, and before they started school, it was a full-time job, managed to fit in working at the restaurant when she could. Once the younger kids were a bit older and they were in school all day, she started working full-time at the restaurant. She waitressed and helped cook. That's where she learned a lot of her amazing cooking skills, watching my yaya. No one could roll out a flakier pie crust more quickly than my mom. She learned that at the restaurant. When she was 18, tragedy struck the family. On the way back home to Montreal from his first trip ever back to Greece in 1950, my grandfather was killed in an airplane crash. 58 people died in the plane that went down over Grenoble, France in the French Alps. And that flight happened to be a last-minute flight change, something I think about every time I'm in an airport and make a change in my plans. And that story of that plane crash is a whole other story I'll be happy to tell anybody who wants to hear about the conspiracy theories behind that plane crash. It was a doomed chartered flight in 1950. After my papu died, they sold the restaurant not too long after, and I remember my mom talking about the trip they took down to Florida just to get away from working nonstop. She finally cut her long frizzy hair for the first time, which was something her dad had never wanted her to do, and she felt liberated by that and by no longer having to work in the family business. The family and the church were very important to her, as they were to most people in the Greek community. All social activities centered around the church and the holidays, and mostly with only other Greeks. My yaya would host every holiday meal and invite everyone in the extended family and then some. She'd always include an extra chair at the table, which almost always got taken. My mom was her right-hand sous chef. While working at the restaurant, she met my dad, Jimmy, of course, at a Greek church dance. That doesn't surprise me at all because they were an amazing couple to watch dancing. They danced, they met, and they fell in love. Not that order. They talk about their courting days when he'd pick her up from work and she'd fall asleep in the car. My dad would attribute that to her fatigue, and we'd laugh and say maybe it was his conversational skills. He proposed and she accepted, and in a big wedding that was that season's social event. They were married in 1955. Within 5 years, they had the three of us, and it's easy to see why Mom didn't work outside the home. Dad was a teacher and didn't earn a lot of money, but we had a happy home. Back then, saying you were a housewife was a source of pride, and my mom aced it. She did it all. And she did it well. She was a fabulous and an adventurous cook. She tried all kinds of crazy recipes long before the internet. She crocheted, she knitted, she sewed, she smocked distresses. She was a voracious reader when she had time, and she baked. I have friends from elementary school still who remember Uli coming over to our house after school because they knew at our house my mom had the best cookies waiting for us. It was chic back then to dress yourself and your daughters in matching outfits, and she sewed us up a matching storm. She sewed lots of our special occasion clothes and even made my prom dress. Looking at these photos, I recognize some of her handmade outfits that were either knitted, sewn, or crocheted, and I still have a few of them. Not that I can fit into them. Having 3 children and 2 adults in a 3-bedroom house would be really cozy by today's standards, but somehow, most of the time, my parents didn't stop there. There were times when we had another person living with us for over a year at a time to help out that person. My cousin Lucy, one of the daughters of close family friends, and for an extended period, our great-aunt, Thea Anna. All bedrooms doubled up. Mom wouldn't ever turn away anyone in need. She was social and outgoing. She did have her own girlfriends, and they chatted regularly, mostly Greek, and met monthly to play canasta. I loved when she hosted those parties because then all the special treats would come out. Family was the focus of Mom's life. She was there always for us and for her siblings, her widowed mom, her enormous group of in-laws, because my dad was one of 8, and the house was often full of family. Every Sunday after church, a meal and multiple guests would arrive, and my mom would feed everyone. It was like a mini holiday. Even when she went to work, she gravitated towards family. After having worked in the restaurant, then she worked at the legal offices of her brother Philip for years. Then she chose to work right alongside my dad, doing admin work as a school secretary in the very school where he was the principal. I could never understand Mom. Our mom said yes to a lot, to spending summers camping across Canada, to living in the Yukon for a year, then all the way to Alaska, then yes to all the way back. We're talking over 3,600 miles. Yes to most of our dad's crazy suggestions. In 1977, they came on vacation with Michael to California and stayed with Cindy's parents, Peter and Marion, my mom's younger brother, his lovely wife, and they loved it. They came back and announced their decision to move here. With Michael, they relocated here in 1978. I had arrived in California a little while earlier, and Kathy didn't come until much later. They moved into an apartment near Peter and Marion, and the sunny Southern California chapter began. Hallelujah, no more winter. Mom immediately got a job as a bank teller with my Uncle Peter's help at Security Pacific Bank, and he also had worked there at the time in a different branch as a bank manager. Over the 17 years that she worked there, she was promoted repeatedly, and she became like a mom away from home to all of the girls who worked in that bank. She had really close relationships with her coworkers. She only retired after those 17 years in 1995 when she was struck down by her illness at the age of 63. Her whole life she had suffered from migraine headaches. Sometimes they lasted for days at a time. That summer of 1995, we thought we saw why, and she was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm. It was successfully removed during a very long and complicated surgery, but that night she suffered a stroke. Her life and ours changed drastically from that moment. At 63, she began intensive therapy, occupational, physical, you name it, speech. She regained some of her cognitive and physical capabilities, but the initial prognosis was not promising. But because of her relatively young age, she regained partial movement and never recovered her full mobility or her ability to speak well or read. After about 8 months at that time in the hospital, she returned home to a very different life, with my dad becoming her primary caregiver. With the help of visiting therapists and other caregivers, he lovingly cared for her for about 10 years. During that time, they lived in assisted living residences in Long Beach, and for a short stint in Laguna Hills. About 16 years ago, they reached a point where they both needed full-time care. At that time, they moved into the Sherman Oaks Health and Rehab Center, where they shared a room. They were the only couple that shared a room in that place, and my dad was one of the very few older men there. My dad passed away in 2013 at the age of 88, and my mom remained in that same room until she passed away. One of the things that amazed me most was that she never felt sorry for herself. Even in the midst of her own struggles, her heart was always with someone else who was having a difficult time. She always managed to find joy in her life, and nothing brought her more happiness than visits from family. The sight of her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, and my cousin's grandchildren would make her face light up with joy. Even when they couldn't be there in person, seeing recent photos or videos of them brought her that same happiness. During COVID, they managed to do 2 years worth of live streaming, and she loved seeing everybody's faces. I think she might have been a little sorry when COVID ended because she didn't have those calls anymore. There's so much I will miss about her. I'll miss our daily phone calls, even when they reached the point where I did most of the talking. I will miss sharing my photos with her. She was the one person who would eagerly sit and look through every single travel photo and watch every video I brought home. And there were a lot. I have to admit, I probably took even more knowing that in a way, because that became her chance to experience my travels alongside her. I will miss her smile lighting up the room as it so often did. She brought joy to everyone lucky enough to be on the receiving end of that smile. I will miss her wonderful sense of humor. She laughed wholeheartedly and always got my jokes, often ending with, "Oh, Barbara." As much as I will miss her, I know I'm not alone. So many of us will miss her deeply. What greater legacy can anyone hope to leave than a family and so many friends whose lives are better because they were loved by her? Inspired by her strength and resilience, and all of us forever changed by her kindness. Okay. With that, I'd like to invite up my brother Michael. My brother Michael next. And he's going to say a few words about his memories of Mom.
Thanks, Barbara. I look around this room right now, and I just, all I see are stories of love. With them up, each and every one who touched your life. I'm not known to be waxing loquacious like our dear departed father, Jimmy, so I'll keep it as short and sweet as possible. I just want to start by saying one of my favorite movies in recent times was maybe Fat Big Wedding. And how with pride, the father of the family was saying, yeah, it comes from the Greek words, so I have one for you guys. Eulogy. It's from the Greek word eulogia, which kind of translates as true words of endearment and praise or something. And that's exactly, I think, what we're doing here today. We're sharing words of praise, we're sharing stories about our dear mother, Eleni. There are so many words of praise. I'm going to keep my lid back with you. She was the vital foundation of our lives, and I heard Barbara say, spine of the book, Roots of the Tree. She imparted on us, I said, Jackie and Barbara, many things. The golden rule, faith in God, honesty, optimism, goal setting. And you don't have something nice to say, don't say it. Always had a smile on her face. She had a calming presence, you could say, in her family. Personally, she was my music cheerleader, my life coach, and sometimes my therapist. An awesome wife, mother, and Yaya, provider, grandmother, great-grandmother. She was my inspiration for being an engineer. Without a doubt, I just watched her around the house when something broke. I saw how she kind of made things work. She looked at things with a very analytical mind. She was an extremely intelligent woman. However, due to circumstances as Barbara outlined, she was, I would call it a domestic engineer. She was our domestic engineer of the family. She enabled my curiosity. So many times, I would take things apart around the house. How does this work? Sometimes I did it back together, other times I didn't. She would just smile. That's okay. We'll figure it out. She never got angry. She would always have a smile on her face. It's like, Michael, it's all good, you know? I'll recite a quick story about something I did. I just received papers for my birthday, a carpentry kit. It had hammers, screwdrivers, a drill, a 5-year-old drill. And so I said, it might be really cool if I could put a portal on the side of my bedroom wall. And, you know, it's my sister's. So I proceeded, literally, to drill almost to the wall. Yeah, this is cool. I remember my mother really was my cool thing. Other times, she comes into my room and she goes, Michael, wait till your father gets home. And fervently, I then thought the only engineering solution possible. I didn't have access to drywall and gypsum. I just took some soda pop bottles and I taped them. I said, that's fine, I don't care. You know, I said, oh, that'll pretty decorate your room, Michael. It didn't end up that way. Yeah, that was a great, I still remember that activity. Yeah. I guess the 3 words I can think of, someone said, just describe your mother in 3 words. Yeah, I still have to say 5. Kind, caring, honest, calm. She just let things go. Just like, don't hold it in, just relax. She could make lemonade out of any and all the lemons that she was going to like. There were quite a few. In fact, speaking of making lemons, making lemonade out of lemons, every But it was okay. I was so happy with the steak. Fish. We had fish several times a week. Little did my mother know back then that would become a very healthy staple due to its ingredients. But to her, it was an affordable protein that she could feed us in those times when we didn't have a lot of money. My musical passion, I attribute to my mother. One of my earliest memories is my sisters having piano lessons. I was a very strict piano teacher, Mrs. Schulte. And I remember the look of, how did I say it, maybe some angst and frustration, the rigidity of what this music teacher was imparting to my sisters and the practice we had to do. And then when the dust settled after a lesson, maybe the next day I looked up the piano, covered myself, and started trying to play keys. This is cool. My mother never told me, hey, I'll play that piano, it's your sisters. She let me do it. The other part of that story is I would come home just like someone wearing stray dogs after a musical instrument. Oh, I want to play drums. Huh? Oh my gosh, playing fingerings. No, can't do drums. I brought a violin. Oh my gosh, it was like crying, screaming cats. Finally, after that vehicle, she settled on the guitar. And I started my guitar at that point because I could go on my room. But she would always, without saying things to me, just encourage me. I know she encouraged my sisters also to pursue their passions and pursue what they wanted to do. Another story I recall when I proclaimed to my mother, I want to be a hockey player. I want to play the Montreal Canadiens. She turns to me and she goes, puts her hand on my shoulders. Michael, why don't you be a figure skater? Figure skater? No, I'm a macho guy. I want to play hockey. She faced so many adversities in life with bravery, with tact, with class. As was mentioned earlier, because my father was a school teacher, we had 3 months off every summer, and we did these very lengthy 10-hour summer trips, stopping at every single national monument that we could take photographs as yourself. But I recall a special occasion. It was a very cold morning, Pancake Bay, Ontario. It's about 40 degrees, freezing cold. Maybe I got the story wrong and juxtaposing that, but I just remember there was rain and it was cold. And there's Mom with the whole cooking stuff set up, and she's making pancakes, bacon, other people, moms and dads were buying, oh, I got some coffee there. Wow, look at that. Can I have breakfast? She always could make lemons, and only had lemons, so always loved her that. In closing, I just want to say her motto to me was, it's okay, I don't need anything, let it go. Don't get caught up in things, just roll it up your shoulders. She was always like that. Mom, take care of the family up there, and please go easy on me.
time with her as an adult when she and her family moved to California. A couple things, and I'm going to make things a little brief because I can go on here all day, but I remember introducing her to homemade pina coladas. That's when they were really popular back in the 70s. And I showed her how to make them. I had all the ingredients. And then I also introduced her to a romance novel. Some of you might want to check it out. It was called Shauna. And it was one of those real funky guys on the cover. You know how they had those all the time. And we talked and laughed about that book for some time. She enjoyed both the pina colada and that book immensely. And I remember her days working at Security Pacific Bank. I would meet her for lunch. And it was a great day to break up the day and laugh and talk about, different things. And when we moved to Downey, we lived there for, 8 years. And they used to come, her and Uncle Jimmy would come down and visit with us. And we would enjoy lunch or dinner. I think there was one photo of us sitting on the patio with Barbara, who I was pregnant with her at the time. And then sometimes she'd come to my husband's hamburger stand in Long Beach, and we'd meet there and we'd have a good lunch and whatever. And she was also a member of the St. Nicholas Choir, St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church in Millbrook. Her and Uncle Jim sang in the choir for many years. And one time she sang for Tony Orlando's wedding when he got married. And she was really excited about that. And I remember, she shared photos and it was all about it. And it was great. It was a great memory for her. And as time went by and she suffered her stroke, during those years she never lost her joy for the simple things that we all take for granted, such as going out to lunch or dinner, having a glass of wine, laughing about silly things. I remember one time we were in Barbara's bathroom, and I even took a photo of it. We were just laughing our heads off in the mirror. She laughed about all kinds of things, and she loved having her hair done, her nails done, enjoying coffee with pastry, going to the theater, enjoying family events, and get-togethers. And one thing she really enjoyed was playing bingo. That was the highlight of her day, where she was living. And I remember she would say, I'd ask her, okay, how'd you do today? I'd say, how'd you do? And she'd hold up 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 fingers. That means she won all 4 things. And she always said it with a sparkle in her eyes. And she really loved it. And she was really good at it because she always had 1, 2, 3, or 4 quarters that she won every day. And that was really the highlight of her day, was playing bingo. And I remember, no matter what, anywhere she went, or even when you go visit her, she always wanted to look good. She was always dressed. She would wear all her fancy jewelry to match what she was wearing. And she wanted, her hair to look good, and, no matter what, she always wanted to look good. So that was really nice. One time, Jim and I decided that we were going to take her to the casino. There's a local casino in San Bernardino. And keep in mind, it had been at least 30 years since she'd been to any type of casino. On occasion, she would like to go to Vegas for different occasions with Uncle Jimmy. So we walked in. Now, the slot machines have changed a lot through the years from what she remembers. They used to be pulled down, very not so automated. So we walked in with her wheelchair, and she was like, wow, wow, wow. She was like so excited, and she really had a good time. So, and even though she was disabled, she never complained. She was always in a good mood, always happy to see you. And she loved, as it was said earlier, looking at family photos and videos and all of that. And the last time I saw her was a few days before she passed. I was showing her photos and videos of when we were in Catalina with our granddaughter, Georgia, and she just loved it. She was like, oh, nice. And she just, she really loved that. And she just went on with life, and she was truly an inspiration. Such a kind person to everyone. Everyone I know, family, friends, everybody loved and cared for her. Even the people that care for her at the Sherman Oaks Rehab, they really loved her. Auntie Helen, may your memory be eternal. You are always with the angels. You are with the angels and your family in heaven. And you're having a great time looking down on us today. And we will always love you very much. And we will truly miss you. You will never, ever leave. Thank you. Kathy's going to come on up. So, and my love to the family.
I'm Joyce from Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming to celebrate Eleni's life. My name is Catherine, and I'm the oldest child in the family. I made my mom a mother. I made my mom a mother, with the birth of my son Michael. And then we can go there. I made my mom a great-grandmother, with the birth of Ashley and Brendan, her husband's 3 children, Kurt, Wyatt, and Avery. She always lit up when she saw them. Growing up, it was not easy. We didn't have a lot of money with only one salary and one car. Mom was a dignified woman with exquisite but simple tastes, and she took it all in stride. She was the best mom. Everybody says that, but it's really true. She would encourage you to be your best and to pursue your dreams. She had rules, though. Be polite and respectful. No swearing. No what the HELL hockey sticks. Or we would have our mouths washed with soap. I learned this lesson quickly. When I tried out a new word that I heard on the playground, which I shall not repeat here, we have some young ears, then I heard, what did you say? And every hair stood up on the back of my neck. I dodged the wooden spoon and pushed over the double-level plant stand, dirt flying, to hear as I ran out the door. Wait till your father gets home. My mom knitted, not just as a hobby, but she made us beautiful sweaters with intricate patterns to keep us warm through cold Montreal winters, and then a winter in the cold north in the Yukon Territory. As you've heard, she was an excellent cook and baker, often getting up at the crack of dawn to bake sweets for Christmas or Easter or birthday cakes. I learned this from her. I have a funny anecdote to share. This is an example of how creative and resourceful my mom was. We were camping in the Maritime Provinces. I believe it was in New Brunswick. It had been pouring rain all day. The main campsite cooking area was covered from the rain, but most families had opted for sandwiches or something cold. But my mom made sure the wood fire was hot, popped out her pressure cooker, and made us a delicious meal of chicken, potatoes, and lemon, Greek style, all in 20 minutes. Everyone wanted to know what that awesome smell was. My love of sewing comes from my mom. She hand-smocked our dresses when we were little, taking them with her while she watched us play at the park. One of them, a red dress, survived through the ages to be worn by Ashley and then by Harper. She had such pride and joy seeing them wear it. Later, she took haute couture lessons from the nuns and made a beautiful woolen suit, one of the rare times that she made something for herself, which took months of hand stitching. No machine was used. I still remember it. It was gorgeous. She was unsure of letting me use her Singer sewing machine, however.
for $300. That was a lot of money when I was 14. I was working part-time. I had it in my savings account. I asked if I could call my mom. Mom spoke to the saleswoman and gave her the credit card number and allowed me to carry my 13-pound sewing machine home by metro and bus. Anyways, I paid her back, of course, and I still use that machine today. I look forward to teaching her. So much that she taught me. My mom was part of the greatest generation, resourceful, talented, and self-sufficient in so many ways. They had fun times too. Summer weekends were often spent with the aunties outside in our backyard, soaking up the Montreal sun, telling stories and giggling while sipping on pina coladas, which I was only too happy to blend up because I had to taste test them, of course. In closing, I love my mom and I always will. I'll miss her, but I'm happy that she will no longer hurt. I am comforted that she is with the one who loved her the most, the love of her life for eternity. My dad, James, or Jimmy as he likes to be called. She will always be with me and in my heart. This is part of Christine. That's Christine. Thank you.
Would you pray with me? Father, Psalm 139 tells us that you knew Eleni before her body was formed, and that her days were written in your book before she was born. You created Eleni uniquely and beautifully because she was your child. You knew Eleni would be born on May 16, 1932, and knew the very minute you would call her home to heaven. She's in your perfect presence, experiencing something we can't even fathom because we're still here. Father, remind us that you are close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. Remind us that you care deeply about what we're going through and want to walk alongside us through this road of grief. Remind us that we will see Eleni again because she believed in you. There will be a reunion of family and friends in heaven in the future. Thank you, Father, for this time to celebrate Eleni. Help us not to dwell on the time we won't have with Eleni, but focus on the time you gave us with Eleni. In your name, amen. Just like we've heard from Michael and Barbara and Cindy and Kathy, God has given each of you treasured moments. Everyone brings a special relational memory today of Eleni. These memories are vivid pictures etched in our hearts and our minds. It's a unique and indelible impression she made on you. Some of the pictures you're seeing right now, you can bring back that smile or something she said to you or something you experienced with her. Part of Eleni's celebration today is made special by hearing from some of you sharing those treasured moments. In our next few moments together, I want to invite anyone who would like to share to please come on up to this podium. Please be mindful of your time so others have a chance to share. This time will begin now, so if you want to come up and share, please do so this time.
Just, she showed me how to make spanakopita, and I asked her for the recipe, and she's like, I have no recipe. I just do this. So sadly, I kind of have notes, and I have never been able to replicate her spanakopita. She was just a generous and loving woman, and loved her grandchildren, and loved visiting, and family was just so important. So to see everybody here is really special because she just loved everybody. Whoever would like to come up next, please start.
Hello everyone, I'm Brian, Ariana's husband. I'm going to piggyback off of what Suzanne said. I'm a white guy. Our wedding, our wedding. I don't like to dance, I can't dance, and one of my fondest memories was looking at Helen in her wheelchair. And I thought, you know what, Ariana, I'm going to go up, I'm going to take her, and I'm going to dance over there. And I remember just wheeling her around, and the smile, look on her face, I think made her day. And actually helped me out too, because I can't dance, and she couldn't dance.
On behalf of the family, I want to thank everyone for making the journey out here. Some came farther than others. Everyone says some really sweet things about Mayaya. And I think that's the thing I'm hearing the best about her is she's always such a sweet. She never had a bad thing to say. In my entire time I spent with her, not once did I hear her complain about things. Most of you know, she had more reasons than most to complain. She really was the spine that held the family together. I think it takes a special woman to be married to a former sailor, a school teacher. I think they balanced each other out very well. I think one of her defining qualities was her fortitude. I think it was her ability to continue and persevere to face anything her life would have. She was always happy to see you. She really never had anything to complain about. And one of my fondest memories of my Yaya is a couple of years ago, a trip down to LA. The first stop on the way was to go pick up some Greek food and go take Yaya out to the park. And so, partner at the time and I, we built her out there. Good Lord, the city sure knows needs to fix those damn sidewalks. But pushing her up someplace is like climbing a mountain, but we usually just put her on her back. But she laughed the entire way, thought it was hilarious, and when we got out to the park, we sat down, we had our eats, and the highlight of our trip out there was this group of young men, their shirts off, working out in the park, and she was as red as can be, she was laughing. She actually asked if I could move her wheelchair so she could get better view. Every time I go out for a run, I go work out, and I take my own shirt off, I think about how there's somebody's guy out there that's She made it to 94. That's more than most. It's more than what I want. And I would say I absolutely love giving her a call. If you don't call your loved ones, even 5, 10, 15 minutes, it makes you feel in their life, even if they don't have a lot to say. I know every time I'd give her a buzz, I would tell her about the ridiculous shenanigans I would get into. She'd always have a laugh. She didn't always have much to say with what I was telling her, but I knew I was always bringing a smile to her face, and she'd always bring a smile to mine. And no, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we all must take. And by the time it was her time to go, she was ready. When I got the call, I just literally hiked the mountain, and I was in the car, and it really hadn't hit me at that time. She had had health issues for many, many years, and I'd gotten the call probably 6 or 7 times before. Dad's not doing well. name it. She was built like a house. She had that fortitude and she had that strength that I think we all should carry. And when I think about her, I think about somebody that was born right at the end of the Depression. She lived through the Second World War. She lived through numerous turmoil and tribulations, and she always had something big to say. Even when you're having your worst day, even when you feel terrible, your back hurts, you can't talk, you're having trouble getting up. I want you guys to think about my grandmother. I want you guys to think about always finding that silver lining, always finding the sunshine on a cloudy day, because that's what she was to me. She was that sunshine on a cloudy day. Every time we go to see her, she always lit up, she had that beautiful smile. She gave me that sense of passion and caring, and the curls more than anything. I gotta say that. The curls are giving her. God bless her for that. Again, thank you guys all for coming out. In closing, the last thing I want to say is that we don't know. The Lord may know when it's our time to come home, but none of us are going to know that. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that's given to us. So be kind, treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And smile, keep moving.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael. I'm Dad's first grandson, I guess. I actually had nothing prepared, but had a really good opportunity to think about this. And it was really inspiring hearing some of the stories, quite frankly. And it actually conjured up a lot of memories that I haven't said in the hall for a while. Probably won't be as eloquent as my cousin Nick. That was very well said. But it was just great to hear from everybody. We moved to California from Canada. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. And so I had maybe just a few years prior to her stroke. And what's interesting is just as I'm hearing the story, especially from my mom, from Aunt Barbara, just about how proper she was, no swearing, I get P's and Q's. I distinctly remember driving with her in the valley as a child. And there's some very distinct Greek words I still remember. 35 years later. Which I won't repeat because I'm just kidding. Kids love some. And even the story about, Aunt Cindy talked about taking her to the casino. Because we had the opportunity to live together with Jimmy and Helen for several years. And I think we went to Vegas one year and we stayed at the Excalibur. And I was with her, and I think we were in a casino. And she brought me to a slot machine. And I still remember her telling the story of one of the pit bosses coming up and tapping her on the shoulder and saying, "Excuse me, he's not allowed to be in here." So it was very, very inspiring to hear those stories. And so I think she had a little bit of spice to her. And it was nice to have her doing that. So that's pretty much all I have. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Last chance for anyone else to come up before I invite Michael. Ashley? Not to put pressure on everybody here. Make sure there's someone here. Michael, if you would you come up and lead us in the hymn? Understood? You can refer to the insert that we put inside the brochures that show the lyrics to this very traditional hymn and all over this.
As someone earlier mentioned, my mother was buried in the church. She attended choir every Sunday. She had the opportunity to sing. At least sing her not about. It's a traditional Orthodox Christian burial hymn. It's sung at memorial services and sung at what we call Tisayon, which is a service which happens as part of the viewing process in the Greek Orthodox way. It's very simple. It's basically repeating 2 words and repeating those standards 3 times. Everything in the Greek faith is something about the number 3. It's for the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So without further ado, I'm going to start here. So what I'm going to do is basically sing it first in Greek, and then I'm going to sing it in English. And if anybody is comfortable singing along with me that knows the song or wants to wing it, say, hey, I can do this. You're welcome to join in. I'm going to take it, so let's sing. Eternal be her memory. Eternal be her memory. Eternal be her memory. All together, if you'd like to join. Eternal be her memory. Eternal be her memory. Eternal be her memory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. That was beautiful. That's a great voice, huh? Somebody did my notes. You guys talking about all those memories of our mom. It was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I thought about that time camping that Michael and Kathy both brought up when I have to describe to you guys, you just don't understand. She had a Coleman stove with 2 gas burners that were heated with a propane tank. And other people were like holding a hot dog over a fire at a campsite. And she would pull out this pressure cooker and put it on the Coleman stove and create these masterpieces that, you know, I remember literally the time with the chicken and the oregano that people came around the corner in that covered awning when they were just huddling for warmth and hoping for a slab of peanut butter on a cracker. Somebody thought there was a restaurant. And they asked, where's the smell coming from? And there's my mom with her pressure cooker on one little burner putting together an awesome meal. And yeah, she liked her cocktails. A few of you happened to mention pina coladas and champagne. Oh, the list went on. I mean, we would go out for lunch, and the highlight would be when my Aunt Pauline would come to visit with her wife Irene, and the whole point of their visit was every day, where will we take my mom out to eat? And they would hit every wonderful restaurant along Ventura Boulevard in Encino in the Valley, and the joke was sometimes my dad didn't want to join them, which was fine with them. You know, they wanted to be on their own. But he would be very concerned about my mom's diet and ask her about what she'd eaten. And it was like they had practiced. They'd come back and my dad would say, well, what did you eat? And in unison, all in one, they would chime in and I'll say, salad. appreciate you guys saying all these wonderful memories. Tomorrow morning, we will be interring her ashes in Simi Valley in an intimate family ceremony. That immediately following this, we're going to ask you to join us behind here. You can spend a few more moments. We're going to have a traditional toast of metaksa in loving memory of my mom, Eleni. At 1:30, we invite you to a memorial lunch at the home of Jim and Cindy, and the Greek word for that memorial lunch is makaria. And I just want to be sure you don't confuse that with the Macarena. We invite you also to sign the guest book either here or later at lunch that's sitting up front. And if you could, jot down, if you didn't want to come up to the microphone, give us a few of your favorite memories of my mom. And it'll be such a keepsake for these kids to read in later years and for us to remember her by. I would appreciate that very much. Specifically in reference to today's events, I want to thank Jim and Cindy, as always, for showing up for us. We call them Mr. and Mrs. Mensch. They've just been beyond wonderful, always, for every time we've ever needed them for support in our life. And I know she was the second mom to be Cindy. Big thanks to my dear friend Natalie for help with these beautiful flowers. And the ones you're going to see at lunch on the centerpieces of the tables, and always for your love and support, for creating this awesome video you've been watching, and for all the help going through thousands and thousands of photos. I want to thank my good friend and ex-colleague Andy Phipps for putting this video together. And not to confuse Andy's, but thanks also to Pastor Andy Garcia for providing us this guidance over these past few weeks. It's been a challenging time. You knew what to say to help us out, and we're very grateful. Thanks to Brian Peregrina for his help with this beautiful poster at the front here, and Photoshop support. And to everyone here for virtually showing up today to honor my mom in a way that would have made her so proud and very happy, bringing once again that beautiful smile to her face. To my good dear friends, Mary and Richard, thank you for those daily calls of support, Mary, and Richard for the non-ending stream of technical support questions I always have for you. My mom loved you both. We'll never forget you showing off your underwear to her at Thanksgiving and her giggling while going, oh no, hiding her eyes, not looking. On behalf of our entire family, thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for being here today and for all the love and support you've shown us, not just during this time, but over the years. And now I invite everybody to gather right behind here for a quick toast to raise a glass of metaksa together in loving memory of Eleni. Thank you for being here today. Closing prayer. Pastor Randy, please come on up, Pastor Randy. I forgot about that. Thank you, Matt. Somehow the timeline disappeared.
I don't know about you, but I'm really hungry and I want a martini. Would you recite the Lord's Prayer with me? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, now and forever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. God, thank you for letting us celebrate Eleni here on earth for this amount of time. God, it is truly a gift. And I know, hearing that she loved to sing, that she's in this eternal choir now. Everybody singing on key in heaven and having a blast. Not feeling any more pain because she's with you right now. God, thank you for this time.
not getting what he paid. Does the family find Oh, okay.
I live in Senior
I'm Andy. Dave, pleasure meeting you.
I was a master with coursework.
Right on. In Senior Valley?
No, I was in the valley here. San Fernando is where I was a youth pastor for 15 years. Senior pastor for 3 and then associate pastor.
Wow, you got a career there, my friend. Yeah, you're a veteran. Yeah.
Older than me.
Right in. Well, you can see what you can appreciate what they ask you. So minimal at the same time. I wanted to make it so
See you around.
Did you hear the part?
To break the silence. And then on top of it, we can't it's like emotional.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Always have those questions. Have somebody who